I'm not a morning person. This is very, very difficult for me. I'm also not a public speaker, so you're going to have to bear with me. Yeah, so this is my first time doing something like this as well. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, my name is Joleen Mitton. I am Korean Denza from Treaty 8 and Treaty 6. I am the founder of All My Relations Entertainment, the founder of Vancouver Fashion Week, president of AMRIS, which is a nonprofit, and I guess the manager of All My Relations basketball team. And that's a pretty good photo. Okay, first of all, let me see, I want to show you my outfit. Is that cool? Yeah. So, the designer I'm wearing is Yolanda Skelton, who is a Gitsan artist. But let's talk about where I came from. So I actually grew up across the street at Abbott Mansions, and I used to actually play at Woodward's as a little kid, right? So it looked very different back then. The 100 block, as most of you know, is it wasn't the safest spot, but it was home for me. This is my family. This is my mom and my dad, and my other mom. This is my cookum, who mostly raised me. So when I was living in Abbott Mansions, I lived with her in an SRO, and most of my life I've been in an SRO. These are my ancestors. That's my great-great-grandmother right there, and that's in Sawridge Nation, which is in Alberta. My mom's a 60 scooper, so I think a lot of my practices are from being resilient. My mom was abducted at 3 days old, and she actually was brought home to the Patricia Hotel, which is not too far from here. She bounced around from foster home. She obviously had dealt with a lot of sexual harm, pregnant at 10. She was racialized at school and physically abused. She had a bit of a shopping addiction, but the thing is, to combat what happened to her when she was younger, I slept on the floor quite a bit at shopping malls, department stores, watching her try on all these beautiful clothes, and I think this is where my love of fashion and art came from. But these were my favorite pair of moccasins that she owns, my favorite item that she owned. And it really stood out to me throughout my whole childhood. Another photo, and those are actually the moccasins right there in that photo. My mom, my dad. I'm still a tomboy. I still play ball. I experienced a lot growing up on the downtown east side. I got a little bit of black eye there. But yeah, basically, I had it kind of rough growing up, but I was resilient, and I think that's, when you're living downtown east side in an SRO or social housing, you have to become creative. This is my first photo shoot. This is the first day. So they're the same day, but look at the difference. I was only 15. I really think about that. I really shouldn't have been modeling at that age. But it was a way out of the downtown east side. This is my first day on the job. It was a 14-hour day that day, a 15-hour day. It was wild. This is me in Taipei, and that's my little worksheet. But yeah, basically, I was surrounded by a lot of creatives. I was working with the most amazing photographers and designers at a very young age. I modeled for Snoopy and Hello Kitty and all types of really great brands. Clinique, Kenzo. I was on a shampoo bottle. Yeah, pretty wild. And as I got older, I wanted to go into more of my culture, so I was working with indigenous designer. This is Oka Shosho Esquire and also Shosho Esquire. This is from the Hudson Bay company. This is a fuck you to a Hudson Bay company, this dress right here. So this was in recent years. So this is Pam Baker, one of my mentors. This is her dress. This is me in New York at 39, finally got on the runway in New York. And this is Jamie Okuma in Santa Fe, New Mexico. So start of the career, mid-end, and pretty much now. I got to meet so many awesome people. I got to see the world as a model. I wouldn't have gotten to see those things if I wasn't a model. Like this, it really did save my life. And now coming back to Vancouver, working with youth is really important to me. So trying to mold the two worlds together of working within community and then working in fashion, I just needed to make it all make sense to me because I didn't really understand like how people would love the fact that I was beautiful but didn't care about the person who I was. So I started working with youth. For my practice, I tend to get centered by smudging and being with young people because what the fuck am I doing if I'm not doing it for somebody else? Sorry for swearing. And this is part of our practices right now with my family because we're, healing from intergenerational trauma. So we're making ribbon skirts and basically going back to our roots. So this is my auntie and these two were separated at birth. So this is like a really beautiful moment because this is like the third time they've met and they've made this beautiful ribbon skirt. These are some of my mentors. This is Bo Dick, Joy Chalmers, Deborah Sparrow, Sharon Brass, and Pam Baker. And basically, yeah, it's this, I feel like I never really, like I had parents, but they weren't really around. So these lovely people raised me. From all that, from my modeling career, I co-founded Supernaturals, Vancouver Indigenous Fashion Week, and All My Relations Basketball. And yeah, thank you. Yeah, and this is the people I work with, right? I feel like working with the 3 host nations here in Vancouver is really important, and I've done a lot of protocols and being able to I couldn't have done anything I've done without making good relationships. So working with Kasalem, working with the host nations is really important. I worked for VACFAS for 14 years. Britannia is a home for me because it's like the Indigenous focus school. And yeah, Girls Who Leap, which is actually just a block away over there with the McConnell Foundation and the University of Toronto. I don't know, who's been here to Fashion Week here? Vancouver Indigenous Fashion Week, okay, cool. So if you didn't know, we're the first Indigenous Fashion Week in the world. It started here in Vancouver. I helped launch Toronto Indigenous Fashion Week with Sage Paul and helped with Santa Fe, New Mexico as well for their backstage. And this is why I do everything I do. So that's me in the corner there in the left with the sunglasses. So after coming back from Asia, I just didn't know where I fit, and I found where I fit with these young people. I really saw my cookum and my mom in these young people as well, and they just wanted a place to be safe. I think that's the biggest thing. So Vancouver has changed a lot since I've been a kid, but having a safe space for them was the whole goal of Vancouver Indigenous Fashion Week. And this is them grown up. So I've known a lot of these youth since they've been 10, maybe some of them even younger than that. But now they're all in their early 20s, 25, 24. And they've all been beautiful. And I think that's just what I was trying to show them basically. It's the same thing that, what modeling did for me, which is yes, it's a shallow industry, but I found that I found who I was through that because I got to travel a ton. And these young people got to travel with me quite a bit to different countries. I took them to New York. I took them to Santa Fe, New Mexico. We've done a lot of conferences and just got them to be in rooms like this, which is something that my cookum was never been able to do. This is the Girls Who Leap program from Britannia. This is our drum making workshop. Oh, you know Mitra, yeah. They made these drums for their Red Dress event. I don't know if you guys been to VFW, but this is for the opening ceremonies. Yeah, Mitra, I love Mitra too. So Indigenous worldviews are human worldviews. So if you can see, not everyone's Indigenous in this photo, right? We're trying to kind of combat racism by integrating Indigenous worldviews really early with this young group of people. I'm right here, if you want to see me. And then, yeah, these kids are all graduating within the next 2 years. Really cute. Our VFW mentorship program started, I think it's always been there, but we haven't officially said anything until 2019. But basically, a lot of those kids in those other photos are also in this photo, and these young people get to work at VFW and then hopefully find some kind of purpose or find their way through Vancouver Indigenous fashion, whether it's like, not everyone has to be a model, but you can do the backstage. Being able to like present and serve your community is something I'm really trying to do with these young people, and I think because of VFW, it's so out-facing, it's really important to teach them that. Our first day at VFW, we probably had like over, yeah, I think that was a lot of people that day. I don't know if you guys went to Canada 150 Plus. Did you guys go to that? Yeah, a little bit? Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't think they knew what was going to happen. Like, I didn't know it was going to be this big, but we had elders in the front row, which was awesome. That's the 4 direction colors, a little pan-Indian. I don't really agree with some of that stuff, but yeah, it was such a magical day. That's Ronnie Dean Harris on the side there, Oz 12, JB, the First Lady with the drum. Yeah. And yeah, we always open in a prayer and like land acknowledgements, working with elders and indigenous dancers. Only because of capacity, our numbers kind of went down because we were in the atrium. These are some of the beautiful models and designers. The red dress event, which is like such a hard event to talk about, but I think we're also the first red dress event, like a big one. Like obviously there's Red Dress Day, but I think we're the first people to also do the red dress event. And it's such an emotional topic, and I don't really feel like I can talk about it right now, but we have some really important work to do as a community to be able to stop what's happening in Canada. This is another beautiful photo of, this is 2019. This is an amazing time. So those drums that you saw earlier in the slides, these are the drums here, working with the youth and the elders. I think that's really important, having the youth have a safe space to be, and having elders, like we need both, you need all of that. 2019 Red Dress event. We definitely decolonized that space. Yeah, this is some of the great fashions. This is Shosho Esquiro, Dorothy Grant, Yolanda Skeleton, who's this person I'm wearing, Janine Fajuli. This is very, very pixelated. The Karini Merch, and Sajini Fajuli again at the end there. And I think like VFW is totally different. Like growing up in fashion, you're kind of just like a piece of meat, and you're thrown on the stage, and you're kind of done. Like, the thing is about Vancouver Indigenous fashion, there's actually real relationships happening, and I think that's what the fashion world is definitely missing. Yeah, our practices, we just do a lot of circles, man. So many circles, so much praying, so much smudging, and I think that's why we're also kind of different. Doing other fashion shows, it's just not very personal, and I just love the fact that we all know each other, and they get to see each other once a year, and it's like some of them are actually related. It's really beautiful. Some of the people in the audience and working with the host nations. I think it's changed a lot. I feel like we've impacted Vancouver in a big way. I don't know if it's a renaissance or a resurgence, but I think we did make Vancouver more safe for Indigenous people because of fashion. This is Vina Brown, Copper Canoe Woman. So if you're interested in my GM's earrings, this is the designer. And we've been on like a few media outlets, which has been a really beautiful situation. Like, I would never dream I would be on the BBC. That's pretty crazy. And the Georgia Strait, and yeah, Vancouver Magazine, thank you. Yeah, and then Supernatural started. It was a kind of a spring off of Vancouver Indigenous Fashion Week. Like, again, like those youth that you saw in those photos, they're now 25, and I've accidentally made a bunch of models. They're great, but I got to, like, they need, like, they still have a hard time being in a room. Even myself, I have a hard time being in a room, like with you guys, right? So, but be able to like come into a room if you're wearing a beautiful outfit, I think that's really purposeful. And I think Vancouver Indigenous Fashion Week, there's no Supernaturals without Vancouver Indigenous Fashion Week. We basically teach them how to walk, because a lot of these people think they're good at modeling, and they watch, like, I guess, Top Model, and they think they're good. But like, yeah, a lot of these models didn't start off that way. So we offered them walking classes, and I feel like if you can walk in a fashion show, you can definitely walk into a building and ask for a job. You can ask to go to school. Like, these are just like normal things that maybe they didn't get growing up in their household. So having them with us, we just give them a little bit of power and a little bit of pride. And this is a bit of the dream here. Yeah, because of my work with mentorship and with the youth in foster care and the basketball team, I feel like I'm just like I always describe Vancouver Indigenous Fashion Week and myself as like the multiverse, because I just do like a ton of shit, and like it's hard to explain to people, like, what do you do? I'm like, I'm a producer of many things. Like I'm actually going to All Native this week. I'm playing. All Native is the biggest basketball tournament in North America for Indigenous people. I'm still starting as a 40-year-old. I should not be starting. But like through that, like going to all these tournaments, I got to meet all these really great Indigenous people, like fashion designers, models, athletes. And I think that was like kind of like my gateway drug also into fashion, Indigenous fashion anyway. Yeah, and I just feel like all those things really connect with each other really well. Yeah, I just want to make Vancouver better, guys. That's all I really want to do. I think I've been working within the Indigenous community since 2008, right? And I got a fucking award last night for being top 50 powerful people in Vancouver. Sometimes it doesn't feel like that. It feels a little bit incongruent, but I think I have made an impact, and it's I still have a hard time processing all of that stuff. So, but this is basically what I'm trying to do. Please follow all these things. My Vancouver Indigenous Fashion Week, AMR basketball, and Supernaturals. And I think that's it, guys. Like, I'm not like the best public speaker. I'm just like, I'm in and out, baby.
First question I have for you that it occurred to me today that I've often thought about, and I know so many Indigenous folks, I've worked with so many First Nations. What is the Indigenous perspective on creativity in the way that it's delivered to you as a young Indigenous person? Where does that fit into the beautiful worldview?
I feel like I had this conversation last night with someone at the Vancouver magazine event, and I just think it's inherently in most people, but especially Indigenous people. I think we're just kind of born with it, like Maybelline. You know what I mean? Like I just feel like it's every Indigenous youth I meet, they're really creative, and I just think it's something in our genetic code. To be
Is it
honest with you.
framed in the knowledge transfer? Is it framed as a spiritual thing? The act of creativity?
Well, maybe like some people can definitely look at it perspectively like that, but honestly, it's like we're all fucking creative, guys.
Yeah.
Like it's no Indigenous specific, but like, I think personally for me, like I was obsessed at a very young age. I would draw clothes, faces, and a lot of my father too. Like I don't know, something about being Indigenous is just inherently creative. Yeah.
Hi, Shelley Johnson. You did great as a speaker, so congrats. Two questions. You said the name of the designer of your dress. Can you also please tell me the designer of your earrings?
Oh, same designer.
And what is it? Yolene's?
Yolanda.
Yolanda?
Like Honda.
Yep.
Yolanda. And Skeleton. Not skeleton, but skeleton.
Okay,
Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. And is there an edition of Vancouver Indigenous Fashion Week coming up anytime soon, or plans?
We have some big plans. So we actually, from the atrium, we moved into the actual theater at the Queen Elizabeth Theater in November. And hopefully in a couple of years, we're hoping to be at the convention center. November this year, and then hopefully we'll see what happens next year after that.
Hi, I'm Shiraz. I'm a creator of Grandparents Film Festival. So thank you for acknowledging your grandparents. And I also write poetry. So I've written 2 poetry on basketball. So if possible, I can share with you. And so the third thing is, I want to thank you that you brought this in alternative model of fashion design, because we see corporate uh, run show and then the models are abused. So do you communicate with your models about abuse in the industry? And the second is, are there any shirts you make for men? Because I'm, and I just want to say, you said you started learning at 40. I'm 75. I just enrolled to learn screenwriting for my grandparents' film festival.
So the first question was about the model. Yeah, as a young person, because I was 15 when I left, I was definitely abused by the modeling industry because you have to be a certain size. Actually, some of the agents would actually. I'm really pretty pasty. Like both of my parents are pretty dark. I'm a pretty fair skinned indigenous person because my grandfather is white. But they asked me to go into like chlorine water to get more white. So like, could you imagine like being like a teenager and like your parents look like you but they're dark, and then people ask me to be more white and more thin. So it's just like I'm very protective over the youth that I work with and the models that I work with. I let them know like you have to eat. If they don't want you the way that you are, then we're not working with these clients. We do a lot of like background checks with everyone we work with. And we've said no to the Hudson Bay Company multiple times.
Wow. So, I'm going over there.
I'm wondering if you could talk a bit more about what you've seen in the youth that you've worked with, kind of transformations, how they've changed working with you.
Thank you for that question. Yeah, a lot of the youth that I've worked with in the past, all obviously coming from care, like a lot of them don't speak in public or in public. A lot of them are a lot of shut-ins. They don't go outside. So for some, I've seen them like blossom into like a confident young Indigenous person. Yeah, I was thinking about this one person. I won't say their name, but very shut down. Like didn't like had poor hygiene, like just not really feeling like comfortable or safe or anything like that. Being able to like walk down a runway, like that's like at the end of the day, I'm going like that's the kid that had the hard year, right? And then they're killing it on the runway. So like, I think honestly, like we've done a lot of prevention. I think we saved a lot of lives. So I think that's a big accomplishment for VFW. I think we're kind of forking the road for a lot of people.
Hi there. First and foremost, thank you. Thank you for everything you've done and everything you continue to do, which is a segue into the question. And with all the things that you've fostered and founded and begun, knowing that that's the toughest time to create anything, what have been some of the barriers you've been hit with that we can all learn from so that we can remove them for others to do similar work?
Money. Yeah, like when I founded Vancouver Indigenous Fashion Week, we did it off of $25,000. So it's just like the barriers are like it's money, it's getting through the granting system, it's like knowing people, it's me trying to fit into other boxes, right? Like I'm always like try to noodle my way into all these boxes that I know that I'm supporting so many artists and youth, and doing Canada's job on fixing what Canada did to our people. So I'm just like, show me the fucking money at this point. Yeah, I think the barriers are just like, I guess we're breaking them right now. So we'll see in the next couple of years, I think, what's going to happen, because it would be nice for VFW to like last like a long time. And for that, I need your guys' help.
Has sourcing and working with venues been a challenge here?
Well, okay, so I could tell like a short story. So when Canada 150 came up, I applied for like $250,000, and they're like, "Who the fuck are you?" And I'm like, "I know, right? No one knows who I am." But then I went to the city of Vancouver and like banged down the door, and I was just like, "You have my money." and then I was put on to the steering committee for Canada 150 plus, and then they gave me the actual venue for Vancouver Indigenous Fashion Week, and they paid me nothing for it. So it's just like we did it off $25,000. Like doing stuff for free isn't helping. We need money. So at the end of the day, that's kind of what I've seen a lot. I don't mind being the token as long as you pay and as long as my people get through the door.
Well said. Okay, I'm gonna go here.
Hi, my name's Olivia. I'm here with a couple other students, so I kind of just wanted to ask a question about do you have any advice for young adults, specifically maybe students, and I mean everyone, on if you're not very creative or you can't really find that creative side of yourself, do you have any advice on kind of how to find that or pull that out of yourself?
Yeah, I think I guess this is another answer for you, Mark. It's inherent, obviously, for Indigenous people, but I think our elders kind of tell us what we're supposed to do, right? So in a community setting, the older people should be watching you. So they should be guiding you into what your gifts are, right? Like Bo saw what I could do. So Bo taught me how to place people, right? So, and then Joy also saw me what I could do and then got me to work with you. So it's like, I didn't choose any of this. This is a calling and I just kind of answered it. So I don't think you should force anything because it's like, if you have to force it, it might be shit kind of thing.
Time for a couple more questions. Everybody, hands up who feels like they have a really strong question. Okay, they're all dudes. Why do dudes always think they have clever questions? God.
Hey, Jolene. My name's Michael. I was with the Upcycled Fashion Show. One of the questions we got the most is how do settlers and others wear, buy, be part of Indigenous fashion? What is that conversation and how do we continue to have it?
We want you to buy from us. We don't want you to buy from Chloe Angus, Pendleton, or Native Northwest. We want you to buy directly from Maker. So come to Vancouver Indigenous Fashion. We have a large market of maybe 100 to 50 vendors. And we're not trying to hoard it. We want to share it. This is an educational piece. This is an educational piece. We want you guys to be wearing Indigenous fashion. Most designers do. So I would say don't be afraid. I know it's uncomfortable going into a new space, but we want you there.
Thank you. I was wondering the importance of the place because now you're in Vancouver. It feels like you're back to your roots in the sense that you lived in Asia. Would you have seen yourself doing all this somewhere else, or it was kind of always the plan to go and to do something in Vancouver?
There was no plan.
Sounds good.
I never really have a plan, by the way. But I do. There was no plan. I'm just gonna be honest. Yeah. It's about here, yeah. If I wouldn't have done it anywhere else for sure. My heart wouldn't be in it.
Hey, Jolene.
What's up?
Hey, thank you for sharing. You bared a lot today. I know you said this is the first time you've talked in a group like this. I know, but you've talked in smaller groups. But thank you for opening up today. If you had to choose one thing that you've worked on that, say, for example, that we could sort of unofficially contribute a couple dollars or here or there, what would it be?
Where you can put the money at?
Yeah,
Yeah,
if you had to choose one.
Well, I think there's a few things. So AMRIS is a nonprofit and it basically umbrellas Vancouver Indigenous Fashion Week and AMR basketball, right? And they actually work in tandem with each other, which is really beautiful. So I think we had something on. Talk to her. Yeah, this is
Okay.
Jocelyn, my general manager. Also,
Yes,
one of the lead singers of Queer as One. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Joss, McDougall, sit down. But Joss, let's include whatever the best link is in the follow-up email. Okay, last one, and then I want you to, we're gonna explain your piece of art, okay?
Thanks so much. I'm really curious about the idea of cross-pollination of cultures and collaboration, and just loved learning about what you spoke about this morning. But is there a place for collaboration, creative collaboration between different cultures? Could you speak on that a little bit?
Yeah, I was actually talking to someone last night, again at that event, who is Ukrainian. And a lot of the, I don't know if you see our kukum scarves, those are borrowed from our Ukrainian family from that side. I think there's a ton of stuff. There's tons of stuff I want to do with indigenous designers. Like, I really want to work with Luvog, and I want, like, my friend Maynard's art to be on their shoes and have that be a product of VFW, and people, and you guys go and buy it and wear it and appreciate it. So I think there's a ton of.
What is this?
It's a thank you for sharing just a physical memento that you can take that I made out of reclaimed wood. Yeah, it's reclaimed oak.
Oak.
Yeah, it's supposed to showcase all the imperfections so that make that piece of material kind of unique, like each one of us. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing this morning.
Joleen Mitton, everybody.